Apple releases Safari 5 with a whole host of new features, including Safari Reader, greater performance, HTML5 support, Bing integrated search, and Safari extensions. I'm going to cover all of those on this next episode of My Apple Podcast. Hi everyone, my name is Tim Brown, your host of My Apple Podcast. And I don't know about you, but I'm very excited about this new development with Safari 5. I did not expect all of these features. I didn't hear anything in the press. I just was not prepared for it. When I downloaded it and opened the browser for the first time and found that I could integrate the New York Times, that I could integrate Bing Search, and that I had a whole host of other extensions that I could use to make my browsing experience more pleasurable, particularly using Safari, I have to say I was a bit surprised. But at the same time, I'm excited. And I decided, hey, I have to make a podcast about this new development. So for the rest of this episode, I'm going to guide you through my screen. And I'm going to take you through all the features that I've discovered with the new Safari browser. Okay everyone, if you can follow me over to the computer screen here, I pulled up Apple's website and here is all the features that are being introduced with the new Safari 5. As I mentioned before, there is the Safari Reader. And here the reader removes all annoying ads and other visual distractions from online articles. This is a great feature. I'm going to continue to scroll down. Here's HTML5 support, where we get full screen view and closed captions for HTML video, as well as location services. There's better performance with the new fast Nitro engine, so that the browsing experience is a lot faster with Safari 5. And I would like to know what your opinion is of that too, once you've had a chance to fool around with the new features. And again, the big surprise for me is Bing integrated search. You still have the Google search options, but now you have Bing search. And it comes as an extension with Safari 5. And not to mention a whole host of other Safari extensions that enable you to do so much. So, let me show you some of these. I'm going to go into the Safari extensions gallery. And I should be able to pull this up in a moment. And when you go to this extensions gallery, you're going to see a few extensions that are the highlights. You have Twitter for Safari, Bing Highlights, MLB.com Toolbar, New York Times Updates, My eBay Manager, and Add an Amazon Wishlist. So I'm going to go to Safari, I'm going to go to Preferences, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the extension features on. And as you can see, the top part of the browser is now transforming to include all these new extensions that I've added thus far to my Safari browser. Okay, so as you can see, I have the Safari extensions gallery up in my browser, and I've already activated some of the extensions that come with the new Safari 5. One of the features I really like is Twitter. And the top left, you can see the Twitter icon, and it immediately pulls up the Twitter page. And you can do a search right away through this search window that is provided at the top. I'm going to go ahead and enter TechCrunch, which is a site I like to visit quite often. And you notice a little bar comes out from the side of the browser, and here are all the recent articles by TechCrunch. And you can click on the hyperlink and go straight to that article without even leaving your browser. This is a very exciting feature, and for Safari users, this is amazing. The other feature that I like is the New York Times extension, which is also built into the top of the browser. And as you can see, there are little thumbnails of articles that are constantly updating all day long. So if you left the extensions on, the articles would update. And if you find an article that's interesting, you click on it, and again, it opens up without even having to leave the browser. there are many other features, including one for dictionary.com. So if you want to look up a word right away and you don't want to have to leave your browser, in this case I'm going to look up this word here, epistrophe. And again, without even leaving the environment, I can go straight to dictionary.com. Now, as you are browsing through the Safari extensions gallery, once again, you'll see that there are a whole host of extensions that you can use. There's one that I picked up that I really like. It's Facebook Photo Zoom. And I'm going to show you how this little feature works. It's very cool. I'm going to go to facebook.com. And I'm going to go to my profile page. I'm going to go to Photos. Now instead of having to click on an image, all I have to do is roll over and I will get an enlarged version of that image. Pretty cool. I really like this feature. It saves the extra effort of having to open it up, then go through the arrows as they take you through the Facebook slideshow as you go from one image to the next. This is just easier. That I can roll off and then it's gone. Now, as I mentioned before, one of the biggest surprises for me was the integration of Bing search. That one really caught me off guard, and you can choose Bing as one of the Safari extensions, and you have to see some of the features in action. Okay, this is how the Bing extension works. If you have an article up, you can highlight a word. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight Washington. And you'll notice that there's a little search icon that appears. You click on that search icon, and I now have the option to search for Washington, which will bring up the results of a Bing search, or I can search for Washington on a map or translate Washington. So I'm going to go ahead here and search for maps, and that's the most obvious connection there. And there you have it. I'm going to go back to the article, go back to my search options again, and then I'm just going to do a regular search, all the search listings. So as you can see, Bing is pretty comparable to Google. So for a lot of people who have been hesitant to move in that direction, thinking that there's no way that Google can have a competitor, well, I think it's now safe to say that there is a competitor out there. So let's go back to this article one more time, and I'm now going to go to Translate. And Washington is not much of to translate, but I'm going to go ahead and let's say Chinese simplified. I'm going to translate Washington, and then on the right hand side you have the translation, and you can even hit the speak icon. Did you hear that? I'll click it again. It's amazing. So you can get all of these features just by rolling over a word or a select group of words to bring up searches, searching for a map, or translate. So you have to admit, there are a lot of exciting features with the new Safari 5. I'm going to play around with Safari a little bit more because there's a lot to discover with the new extended features. And I would love to get your feedback as well in terms of what you discover and how does it compare to Chrome or Firefox or some of the other browsers that are out there. Anyway, you can reach me at myapplepodcast.com, or you can catch my blog at myapplepodcast.blogspot.com. Meanwhile, I'll see you next time. And for today's episode, I'm going to focus on okay, for this episode, I'm going to focus on Safari 5. Well, actually, I was going to say Apple. Apple introduces. Okay, I think I'm ready. It's really weird when you're doing this yourself because, forget it.